Welcome to Making HERstory. This isn't polished success stories. This is the fire, the chaos, the gut punch truth of women who refuse to play small. The real, feral stories. The messy, bold, audacious stories that flip the table and set shit on fire. This is where we roar. It's Ashley Crabb. Buckle up, babe. We're making HERstory. Oh, my feral females, and welcome back to Making HERstory, the space where women stop shrinking, speak their truth, and roar through the parts of life and business that were never meant to be quiet. In case we haven't met yet, I'm Ashley Crabb, and I am the only story-driven experience curator who helps female entrepreneurs transform their personal stories into unforgettable brands, events, spaces that build belonging, trust, and visibility. I'm really happy to have you here this week because today we're talking about something I think every woman feels in business, but most of us don't say it out loud. We talk a lot about collaboration. We talk a lot about community. But if we are being honest, even in a room full of women cheering us on, sometimes we still feel completely alone. We live in an era of women supporting other women. And I truly believe that, and I freaking love it. It is powerful, it is needed, and it is absolutely changing the way that business is done, the ways that business has been done, right? But even with all of that energy, even when we are surrounded by people who get it, we can still feel inferior, invisible, and isolated. Because the truth is, success can be loud and lonely at the exact same time. You can have a business that is thriving, that is kicking ass, and you can still feel like no one truly sees you. You can have this big community, you can have this network, but you're missing this deeper connection. And if we're going to be really, really freaking honest, that loneliness, those missing pieces come from the comparisons that we are making, the competition that we are creating, the comparativeness and the competition that we don't even want to admit that we're doing. Those things are happening. We have to stop doing that. We have to stop comparing, and we have to stop competing. Where we see another woman's power, we start questioning our own. Like why do we forget our worth so easily the second that we see someone step into theirs? Seeing another woman step into her worthiness should ignite us, right? But it makes this quiet whisper in our head. Where's my power? We know that people are different. We know that women do things differently. We say that there is room for everyone at the table, but then we start scrolling. And we feel like we're already behind. We're saying, well, where's my seat at the table? Why wasn't I invited? I want to be at that table. We have got to stop it. One, we know that we can build our own tables. We know that we can say, hey, I want to sit here. We also know we can walk away from the tables that we don't belong to. But we have to start remembering that different does not mean better. Different than you does not mean better than you. It means that someone is walking their own road. They're creating their own path, just like you.
You have the authority. You have the experience. You have the voice inside of you. You are the woman that you have been looking for. And the second you stop second guessing yourself and you remember that, everything shifts for you. And what we need in business is not just that belief in ourselves, but we need, as women in business, we don't just need a network, right? We need a circle. We don't just need women who can tag us in opportunities or on a social media post or whatever. We need other women who will call us out when we start doubting ourselves. We need other women who will sit with us in our mess and not necessarily try to fix it, but remind us how strong and capable and resilient we are in handling it. We need other women who will say to us, hey, I know that you feel your fire dimming. Let's pour some fucking gasoline on it, because you are not going to fizzle out. Creating those relationships with other women, that's not just networking. That is friendship. That is sisterhood. And that is what we need in business. Networking gets you seen. It gets your name known. It gets you out there. Networking is important. Networking is nothing unless you have a sisterhood that can sustain that. There is something truly magnetic about women who know how to create and hold space for each other. Not in competition, not in comparison, but in a collective rising. We are women collectively rising together. We are the women who will brainstorm with each other, who will celebrate with each other, who will tell each other the truth when we need to hear it. We are the women who remind you that you're allowed to be both. You're allowed to be a work in progress and a masterpiece. You are allowed to be fierce and soft. You are allowed to be powerful and human. You are allowed to be the businesswoman and all of these other things. That's the energy that I want every woman to find in friendship, in the friendship she makes with other businesswomen. Because when women are able to choose sisterhood over competition, we create these spaces where everybody wins. We create not just a table, but like a table for a freaking feast, right? To every single woman listening, please, 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 please stop questioning your worth because of somebody else's highlight reel. Stop comparing your middle to someone else's breakthrough. You are one of one, honey. You are one of one. You, your story, your voice, your energy, that is your superpower. That is what you bring to the table. You don't have to compete with anybody. You don't have to compete with someone when you are rooted in who you are. Find your women. Find your business friends who are your real life friends. Find the women who can handle your chaos and your shine. Find the women who remind you who the hell you are when you forget. You, we were never meant to build alone, ever, ever. We were meant to build together with a sisterhood, because this movement that we're creating, this revolution that we are a part of, this doesn't happen when we compete. It happens when we collaborate, when we come together, when we belong to each other, when we rise side by side. You don't need more polish. You need people who see you, and you need to see yourself again. That is the power of creating these deeper relationships within business. So if you are ready to start showing up in your story, in the friendships and the networking that you are creating in this business, download the Tell Your Story Starter Kit. Let it remind you who you are and why you started and the circles that you wanted to build. And if you're ready to continue to build those circles, let's take it one step further and let's schedule your 30-minute clarity call. We can help build your brand, your fire, your story from the ground up. So when you go into these rooms and these spaces with your sisterhood, with the network that you want to create these deeper relationships with, you will go in there knowing exactly who you are and why you do what you do. And those other women will see that you're not here for competition. You're here to say, this is the new way that we rise. Continue rising, my feral friends. This is Making HERstory, and I will see you next week.
You've been listening to Making HERstory. Remember, your story isn't optional. It's your fire, your power, and the heartbeat of every space you build. So take up space, tell it raw, and keep building the kind of legacy that can't be ignored. It's Ashley Crabb, and I'll be back with more bold, brave, feral stories soon. And if you want to stay feral with me, hit subscribe, share this with your sisters, and let's make HERstory louder together.